There's some news coming out of the combine. Now, everything right now is smoke and mirrors whenever it comes to prospects, especially really good prospects. You never know what's real, what isn't real. There was something that kind of hit the internet. Sonny Styles, that was not his dad, turns out.
Well,
it was his dad, but we apologize. Two-time Big Ten, all Big Ten, NFL guy. We assumed that was possible.
Believable.
So just know, sir, you could potentially, I think, with modern science, get to that point.
Yep.
But it was only out of respect. Now, Caleb Dahn's, okay, there's a report coming out. And who knows what's real and what isn't, but we do know that even the people that aren't considered real, if their shit generates enough traffic, it does become a topic of conversation for people around the league, especially if it involves somebody who was deemed a Hall of Famer the first day they were on campus in Alabama. We reach out to the Downs family. The Downs family immediately sent us to a suit, sent a thumbs up, never going to do that. So then we go to a couple NFL teams and we try to get a little follow-up on what we have heard. Multiple NFL teams have told us there is nothing in the medical that would deter us from bringing Caleb Downs in, especially with how great of a football player it is. It feels like this is a part of this entire process, and who knows what's real and what isn't, but we do know that like this kind of made its run on the internet. There's a lot of people from around the league, not fan bases, that were like, hold on, Howard, I was told Downs was flagged with partially torn meniscus this week. That's not a serious concern, but also being flagged with a potentially degenerative ACL. It's like these are big deals, obviously, whenever you're talking about investing millions of dollars into a player, especially one that could be a franchise player like Caleb Downs. But every NFL team we talked to, there wasn't one NFL team that we talked to this morning that said anything was wrong. And we talked to multiple. So this feels like it's all bullshit, but this is kind of the name of the game in this time, because that might be a team that likes him the most that is putting that out there, actually hoping that he will fall a little bit. So we got to stay on our P's and Q's here, I think, D-Bud.
Unfortunately, it's part of it, especially in this kind of day and age, in this environment. That could very well not be a team or the agent, just be a loser on the internet, or somebody just with some bad information trying to make a name for themselves and become the next, Mel Kiper, whoever it is out there. But Caleb Downs, he's a phenomenal football player. Like, we've watched him boots on the ground a few times at Alabama and O State last year in a national title run, and this year with the run all the way to the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, communication, tackling, like everything you want from a football player on that second and third level, that's what Caleb Downs is. You see a lot of impact players in the NFL right now who do multiple things, like a Kyle Hamilton or Nick Emenwari, or these guys that are kind of Derwin, Witherspoon, who had a huge Super Bowl. All these guys that can cover, that can blitz, that can tackle in open space, and just as importantly, communicate pre and post snap. And Caleb Downs provides all that. Second generation NFL guy. His brother's doing his thing here. I can't wait to see this guy on the next level. I hate that we have to deal with bullshit like this.
Just got a text from an NFL team who's watching while you're talking. Everything D-Bud is saying is right. His stock won't drop because of any medical. There is no significant concern with the knee. Okay, that was enough. So that's like the fifth team there that has kind of said that. And I'm happy we're getting ahead of this, because those types of things start to linger and then they take on a story of their own.
Yes,
and then all of a sudden this guy can't run anymore by the time the draft comes, and it's like, what? None of this is real. And Caleb Downs can't come out. If Caleb Downs was to come out publicly and be like, my knee's fine, people would be like, oh, that's what I would say too. It's like this is the drawback of this type of shit. When there's billions on the line, and especially if you think that's what Caleb Downs could do for your team, which literally the first day he was on campus at Alabama, there's a Saban's Alabama. The first day Caleb Downs showed up on campus, the OGs of the team, NFL guys, they told us directly, we're like, there's a gold jacket right there. That guy is a gold jacket guy. He obviously transfers over to Ohio State, national championship, has the time, best player on the field whenever he's on the field. So I guess these types of things are going to happen to those types of guys during this draft process. But we would just like to let fans know that there is also another story out there from the people that are making the decisions in the NFL saying, this ain't real. Now, will he have knee problems down the road? Like, is there a chance he has arthritis and shit in his knees?
Sure.
Potentially. Like, these are things that happen to a lot of guys, especially if they played a lot of sports or a lot of football. But this is happening to dudes all the time. So if you want to pick and choose what you put out to potentially build a narrative, that's certainly one thing. But every team we have talked to said this is a non-issue for us if it was coming to draft time.
And it feels like he never dealt with injuries. Like, you could basically say every human in the world has a potentially degenerative ACL. If we're really getting technical with it. All I can remember from Caleb Downs, especially from the field passes, is how fast he is, and how whether there's 20 yards of open space and it's one-on-one with a guy, he makes a tackle every single time. I mean, he literally is one of the best football players we've probably been able to see up close and personal. He almost started the Rose Bowl off against Michigan with a pick six if J.J. McCarthy didn't throw a football 95 miles an hour. Like, he is unbelievable. And think about the guys that he's been around. He's played for Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach of all time.
Yep.
Then he has played in Matt Patricia's NFL-type defense. Like, between the smarts and the production, he is probably one of the best players on defense in the entire NFL or in college football.
Where do the sports books think he's going to get drafted right now?
I mean, he's listed anywhere. Top 10 is what everyone is expecting. Anywhere from 2 to 10. I've seen I can't remember who was at 10, but it was like he's probably not falling past there. Thank you very much. Bengals at 10, yes. If the Bengals, who are a team who have struggled on defense for so many years now, who have a great offense, if he gets past 10, that would be shocking. 12, there's no chance he gets past Dallas, in my opinion. But I've seen anywhere from the Jets at 2 all the way to 10, somewhere around there. He'll probably be up there.
Yeah, somebody's working here.
Yeah.
Yes, they want him to fall. They want him to fall farther than
You got a guy that improves your run in your pass defense immediately. You know, obviously a 3-down guy, but like that's what you need. We're in a 4-down league now, so you need a guy like that who's probably gonna play 99% of snaps. Maybe be a green dot guy, so he instantly improves. A lot of times you get a pass rusher, he may not help run defense. You may get an interior guy, he may not help pass rush. This guy does everything, and he's going to make the players around him better as well.
And didn't Fernando Mendoza do a interview at the Combine and say one of the teams told him, like, hey, could you get arrested?
Yes. Yeah.
So you could drop a little bit?
Yeah.
That is really how some of these teams are thinking, especially if it's a game-changing type player like Caleb Downs definitely is in this whole thing.
And especially when a lot of people are saying, hey, this guy might be the best player in the draft class. And just because of the position he plays, he's not necessarily going to go in the top 5. But I read an article this morning that it was an anonymous, scout or GM. I can't remember who it was specifically, but they said Caleb Downs would be a top 10 pick in the last 20 years, every single year. So there's not one draft you look at and you wouldn't. That's how good this guy is.
Generational type talent. Yeah, especially from a family of athletes as well. Congrats to him on having to survive all the bullshit, because it's going to be a fortuitous draft night for you in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with all eyes headed that way.